with sustainability, SFU here. The idea of creating an elected position is somewhat problematic because I really think that that takes the responsibility for sustainability initiatives away from the actual executive themselves. And I think that this is something that all members of the executive should be very concerned with. I'm very happy today to see all the candidates who are obviously very informed on issues of sustainability. I think the big question is, of course, if not you, who? So I think that the idea of an elected position is not the best idea, because then, of course, you're going to be raising the question of a stipend. And when the SFSS is facing a monstrous deficit, which has been accrued over the course of the past year through various lawsuits and mismanagement and bad governance, I think that it's very important that we are cutting costs everywhere that we possibly can, especially when it comes to creating positions. However, as an Office of Sustainability from a volunteer position, I completely and absolutely support. I think that volunteer service is a spirit that many people should approach the university community in. That's the essence of public service itself. The idea of creating stipend positions is essentially creating positions for professional activists, which is also a very problematic and dangerous situation, which can lead to situations with this cliquishness, which has been raised several times in this forum itself. Thank you.
I think that a good way of approaching it would be to create, like Natalie was saying earlier, a volunteer position. That way we could gauge the interest, and if it turned out that the volunteer person was taking on a massive workload, then maybe some issues could be brought up, and we could create maybe like a small stipend that would be an honorarium. I think that it's important to reward hard work, so I think that that shouldn't be an issue that should be shut out completely. As far as the administration goes, I think that SFU has shown through the Senate and the Board of Governors that they do support an environmentally sustainable university by the creation of the new Faculty of the Environment. And I think that SFU does, in principle, want to create a more sustainable campus, and we shouldn't think that the university officials don't.
I fully support having an Office of Sustainability, and I also fully support having an elected position, and quite frankly, if there was an elected position, I would run for it. I think, well, I agree with Robert's point that everybody in the executive should be concerned with issues of sustainability, and I think that we can see that many of the candidates running are. But just like Member Services Officer, everyone who's running for executive and everyone who is in an executive position should be concerned with the membership and should be concerned with meeting with club presidents or students or anyone who has any concerns. But having a specific role that is a champion for sustainability, I think that is an important thing to have. And just like we have a specific role that is just for Member Services Officer, dealing with talking with students, talking with club presidents, and talking with the DSUs. Thank you.
I'm a full supported advocate for sustainable offices. I think that's awesome. I'm actually in contact with Sarah Webb, who is the Sustainable Coordinator at University of Victoria, and that is a university position. That's her full-time job, and that shows that there's longevity to this environmental initiative, and there's continuity with what she's doing, what work she's doing, and then she has a working group. So I think by dealing with these other organizations, we can learn as a university. So as an external relations officer, I would like to talk to her and see what she has done and bring those ideas to SFU. I would really like to see one coordinator and then a working group of those people. So yeah, stable coordinator, awesome. Elected, maybe, but I would like to see longevity within the initiative as well.
In terms of having an elected position in charge of sustainability, I'm not sure if that would be the right way to go. Not ready to rule it out yet, but I've spent a lot of time trying to think about how we can change the composition of the board of directors to make it more focused on advocacy, and that would include issues including sustainability, but a lot of other issues. I don't think it would necessarily be very effective to have women's issues coordinator and a racism coordinator and a sustainability coordinator and public transport. It's when every student group that has a really big issue, is then calling for a coordinator, it's kind of difficult to say which ones are more of a priority when priorities change every year. I do think that this needs to be addressed through the Student Society, and like has already been said, posting a volunteer position with a job description and a title, I think would be an effective way to get students involved. Whether or not that includes an honorarium is up for debate, but we already have expanded the board by 2 directors this year, which costs an extra $20,000, because directors that are not executives get paid $10,000 a year each. So that definitely needs to be taken into consideration when creating new positions. But having people, this is just part of getting more students involved, and my big focus ever since I've been involved with the Student Society has been advocacy, and that's around issues like public transit and other things that have to do with sustainability. So I am wholeheartedly interested in keeping the society based around advocacy.
Again, I'm Andrew. So one thing that I'd like to make perfectly clear is I don't necessarily think that the best way to go about raising sustainability as an affairs for student society is creating another executive position, another bureaucratic position where you just start going to your little cubicle and just stay locked in there, you're not experiencing students. What I see the best avenue for this is including them in Forum. Forum has the capacity of immediately expanding their base by 1 member in order to include